boat how many damn beer cans there are. Dude.
Oh, it's crazy. It's fucking crazy. What makes you consider, when you actually take the time to like stop and think and like notice it and actually like appreciate it, like say, holy shit, the road is trash. It makes you think about it when you do it, and so next time you don't, you know what I mean? Like, I don't throw shit out. I don't throw a little plastic or a little piece of paper in that bullshit, because why? Why add to it?
I know me doing that fucking community service. I mean, not that I littered anyway. Trust me, I didn't.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I've never littered. Everyone fucking has. But doing that should cure anybody when you really see the level of trash that's on the side of the road. That you think you might notice as you're driving by, and then when you're walking over that shit, it's tenfold, man. So many.
Doesn't that speak volumes, though, dude? If you just fucking slow down and take a look, how much fucking trash in your life you would actually see.
Yeah. Like, and needles. Don't stress on how many damn dope needles you saw. Just like I was out there and I'd be out there like stoned. Like, are people just shooting up and chunking needles out the window? Like, I'm not kidding, bro.
Maybe you just have like a diabetic that drives like to work
that's
every day,
what it was.
and he just like pops himself in the gut and throws it out the window every night.
Just think of the kind of fucking person you have to be to, even if it was diabetic, let's just assume it's meth or whatever, and throw a dirty needle out where kids, that's a low. But I guess if you're making those type of, fucking shooting up heroin,
you're probably not the best decision maker.
Yeah.
Man, you said something heavy there, though. You had a Confucius fucking moment, dude.
Yeah, I didn't realize it.
I need to like, that's gonna
slow
be a
down.
meme.
You can see the trash. Yeah.
I need to make that a meme. Slow down in your life and actually take note of the fucking trash.
Because we're all at hyperspeed most of the time, dude. Even in our little country ass bumpkin town, even in Batesville, it's still fast paced.
Isn't that what it is when you wake up? I mean, all right, this is what we've conditioned it to what normality is. If you don't do this, you're a relatively off the cuff, not normal person. If you don't wake up at some hour before probably 7 o'clock, if you don't wake up before 7 o'clock, get your shit together and go to a job by 8 or 9, you are a fucking, like, maybe not a loser, just something different. You're doing something different. Yeah. But most of the time it's generalized with lazy fuckers or people that don't, whatever. If you're not doing that and then grinding your ass off at some job and working as hard as you can, because that's what you're expected to do, is work your ass off and then get off, and if you got kids, you gotta pick up the kids, or you're gonna take them to some fucking sports event, which is cool and great and everything, but it's just this consistent thing, and then you get home and you gotta get dinner fixed, you gotta get all this shit going and make it happen, and then by the time you finally get a chance to chill out, you feel gassed out because mentally more than anything.
Mentally stressed. I mean, and you gotta think with jobs too, it's like, you work your ass off there and you give them your life, but they want that to be your whole life. How many jobs you've had where it's like, you even mention something else or something and they act like nothing else matters. I mean, restaurants are the worst. Most of the restaurants I work at are the worst of that, of acting like that should be your whole life.
It's crazy. That was the coolest thing about, did you ever look at that UBI post I told you about, that Twitter thing that somebody said? That was the coolest fucking point I saw in that whole thing, was the fact that they broke it down and say, like, just imagine where the employer had to make the job appealing for the employee.
Which is what it should be.
It's no longer where an employee has to feel like they have to be there. It's more so that the employer feels like they have to be a decent enough fucking human being to keep the employee there. Like, man, if we could do something to make that more so the dynamic, does that not make sense to do? I mean, I don't see how some dictatorial fucking like sultan type ideology of where like the boss has all the power and you have to listen and you're expected no matter what life consequence or circumstance comes your way, you have to continue to make this job your life. That seems a little absurd, man.
I just thought about something too, how we all hate on pyramid schemes so bad, but isn't every job you've ever had kind of a pyramid scheme?
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, they all they're accepted, right?
Yeah.
It's like, you go to Bad Boy, but if you want to sell fucking
what the fuck is a bottle of water?
Senegence, or you know what I mean, something on which it is a pyramid scheme, I get it.
Yeah.
But whatever, like, if you're some kind of lazy fucker, or you're trying to game the system or something.
Look at our past and it, like, all those...
Nope, he failed.
It fell.
Mountain got us.
We're still rolling. Yep, still rolling.
Mountain got us.
If you look back in history at, like, all those little dirty things, like the Ponzi schemes, the pyramid schemes and stuff like that, how much we ended up taking from that and utilizing in like a legal way. Like we found like the legal, like, okay, we can build on this same format, just let's not collect a bunch of money and not actually do anything with it, just keep it all for ourselves. You know, that makes a lot of sense. Even though there's still companies that do that, but they just disguise it very well.
No doubt. It's insane, man.
It's true, man.
It's just fabric of society is collapsing in so many ways. God bless. in so many ways, and I hate to say it in a way, I kind of think it's a good thing, man, because we all waste, most of us go to places we hate every day to pay for shit we don't need. It's like whatever Fight Club said that, or whatever, and it's so true. It makes no sense, and I think the younger generation, people want to call them lazy or whatever, it's like we were talking about earlier, they see through the veil of society, they see through the bullshit. And they're like, no more, man. We're not doing this anymore.
Hey, we've grown up and watched our
parents in the machine.
Our parents fucking struggled. They were having such a hard time. All they wanted to care about was money. They didn't fucking care about relationships with their family. All they did was grind, and they did all this nonsense and struggled and had divorce and had all this disdain because of poor mental health. Because all they did was give a fuck about money. I don't want that. I don't want that for my life. And because that's such a solid narrative, because it started back in the 50s when it was so obtainable. I look back and think about how
the cost of living was nothing.
I wasn't there, and I can't say for sure, but I've talked to enough people from that time that can tell me now, like, it's not the same. Like, it's not even close to the same.
Not even in the 70s.
That's not even
80s,
societally. Bro. That's economically and everything else. And just how much harder it is to obtain, how much more really pressure we put on ourselves. Because of commercialism and consumerism, we've made it to where we have so many more needs. We think we have so many more needs, and it just costs us so much more money, so many more payments, so many more, we have to finance everything. You finance shit back in the 50s. I'm sure they had minor financing at that point, and not everybody was buying shit with cash, but I'm sure it was much higher rate than what it is now. Of course that's making people not want to sit here and, I'm sorry, no, I don't want to go work in a factory 7 days or 6 days a week, day in, day out. It's something I'm miserable at. Like, I don't want to see that happen. But there is enough people that will fill in that gap, that will go and do a job like that.
Because some people are completely content, and that's fine.
Especially if it was looked at differently, where the company had to fight for them to come work for them and say, look, we need you because we need to continue automotive creation. We need to continue refrigerator creation, whatever the fuck the factory is, lawnmower creation. We need you. So this is what we're offering, because we've gone through this up peak of the 90s where all of a sudden everybody had all these wonderful benefits and these amazing things, to this downtrend where you slowly started seeing those benefits go away. And now what the fuck are benefits? No job benefits, and if they are, they cost you enough out of your check that it's not even comfortable.
Yeah.
You might just
terrible insurance.
Yeah, you just want cheaper insurance. You know what I mean? Or you pony up the extra $20 a month on your own and just pay your own shit.
I know Samantha and I, for us to be on with Blue Cross Blue Shield at Bad Boy, it was going to cost me like $150 a week. A week, bro.
That's such a high number. My mom pays like $200 or $300 a month for her fucking insurance. She has a car payment for her fucking insurance, dude. And she's like,
is it good at least?
Healthy. She's so healthy.
But is it at least good insurance? I'm not saying.
Assumingly yes, but dude, should you
like
really have to pay?
$5,000
This is the thing. Should you really have to pay a middleman X amount of dollars a month just so your medical bills can be afforded?
No, I don't understand it enough to talk about it in an intelligent way, but I know that sounds ridiculous.
As medical technology got higher and more advanced, it became more costly because more profits were needed to be made. But essentially, that's what it all comes down to, is that profits need to be made. We have an entire fucking, what do you call it? An entire
infrastructure?
Not infrastructure, but it's a certain thing, like a certain group. We have a certain group of work and I can't think of it. Anyways, we have this entire group, the medical field. We have this entire field, the medical field, that's for profit. Why is that? I've never understood why changing lives, making a difference, keeping people healthy is for profit necessarily. I don't see, and it's as astronomical as it is. It's not that I see. Look, it's just a morality thing for me. I'm not saying it should be any way or the other. Just morality-wise, I don't see why that's something we as an advanced society aren't questioning. Because I
didn't mean that cut you off. I'm sorry.
No, not necessarily. It's just, I get it. You want to build bigger buildings, and I see that still, as long as you make the amount you make enough to where you can slightly build your infrastructure and maintain your infrastructure. What's the need for that? When you take that out of the equation, the money out of the equation,
would doctors strive to the levels they do if they weren't getting that paycheck though? That's the question. You know what I mean? I don't know. I'm not.
small scale, you can look at, like, France is a good one. I watched a couple different videos on this and people talking about France and how they still make a little bit more and they still drive, say, the nicer cars and shit, but it's not dramatically more. And yeah, they are. A lot of them, it's more, you see more people go into it for the morality of it, not the money. That's the problem. You see people go into being a doctor because they want to make money. Why not? Why wouldn't it be better off if we had lived in a world where money wasn't such an issue, that somebody could go into their actual passion and not just for the money and actually flourish at what they're fucking good at? You know, Tim decides he wants to go to be a doctor because it makes the most money. Doesn't necessarily care about saving lives or really anything that comes with it. Really, this dude would really love to just be like, I don't know, a fucking fisherman or something. I don't know, some random shit, but he knows he's not going to make enough money to live the lifestyle he wants to live. But what if you didn't necessarily have to have so many financial stressors on you to make it to where you could just enjoy your life doing what you love, still contributing? So, you know, maybe Tim wants to, fishing was a bad one, but maybe he's a fisherman that he brings back and gives to the community, and like you sell to the community. So you're still doing a part, you're still doing a piece, you're contributing.
It could be almost like, you know, with that too, with, you know, say UBI or whatever, where it's almost like you force people, or not force, maybe that's not the right word, but you make people do like social service or something. Like people have to fucking like, or maybe like doctors for the first time. Maybe, okay, they get out of med school, maybe that first 4 years, dude, you gotta like, before you can make the big money, you got to give like 4 years of service or some shit.
I think they do. I think it's kind of their residency and stuff like that.
I guess that makes sense. But then also, Footcoin, how big a debt they go in to actually become a doctor.
My buddy Nate.
So it's like they have to make that kind of money.
It's crazy, and that's the thing. It's like this big cycle of like requiring you to worry about money more, money, and then, you know, insurance is there because cost of medical expenses is so high that we have this group effort thing where it's like everybody chips in so we can make it a little cheaper, so we can cover costs, because you're going to be paying into it for so long that you're not going to actually utilize the amount of money that you pay into it. Probably that's the chances. That it would not be a field in like a functioning, successful field if that weren't the case. Like if you were going to actually go in there and chances were you're going to spend more money than what you're actually paying in, it wouldn't survive. Yeah. So just like life insurance or anything else, you're expected not to utilize it. Odds are more in your favor that you're not going to utilize that money as much. And that's a lot of people. You think about how many people are putting in, there's a ton of money. There's profit. Insurance companies make profit because of people that die and don't utilize it.
And that's ridiculous.
It's insane. It's not necessary. Now, the problem here is, what do you do if you were trying to eliminate it? There are shit tons of jobs tied up in insurance. So all of a sudden you have a bunch of fucking jobless people. So what do you do? We've built this almost trap that we can't get out of. We're in this box now, and that's why you see everybody, again, all opinion. This is why you see so many people struggling and having a hard time, and why you see 2020 so wacky, because there's just so many different things that we're realizing because of technology and the ease of access of information, that it's just like, it's overload. Bandwidth overload. We can't handle it, because you see somebody that stands steadfast in this way against something, and then they'll see some information on something else, and all of a sudden they're just like mind fucked. They're just like, oh my god.
Yeah, we're no way our human brain is supposed to take in the amount of information we're getting right now. It's not feasible. It's not sustainable, and that's why so many motherfuckers are miserable, man. And it seems like, you know, it's just that getting, you know, 3 billion. If you're on Facebook, you know, what, 2 billion people on Facebook now, getting that much world information, knowing what happened, you know, every fucking dot of this planet, we find out what happened on some catastrophe that I hate to say it, but we shouldn't even know about. Like, we would have known about this 100 years ago. Maybe that's good that we know about it. Maybe it's bad. I don't know. But should we know about every, you know, fucking death or whatever?
I would say it's good in the sense that we're coming to a point in our life that we've never been to, that we know of, to where we can actually work across the globe with each other to help solve problems. And that's kind of the globalism thing you see everybody talk about, and it has like a plus and a minus. You know, it's just like AI. It has this dark side and this light side. Maybe globalism would turn into where we did work together as a country. You wouldn't see all this war. You would see a lot of us band together and start to stop a lot of unnecessarily violence and bullshit that happens. Or maybe it turns into this fucking mega overlord situation where the riches of each one take over and they essentially pull the puppet strings on everything else.
What, you know what, maybe, though? Like, what would that benefit?
I don't think it would. I think it's a false
that's what I'm saying. Like,
oh, they are?
Yeah. Shit. What would sorry guy, what would that benefit? Like, what would the point of becoming this global? I mean, they kind of already control us anyway in a sense. So
For the
like,
control thing, it would.
what would that benefit?
Unless
like
you
force
really
us to work. We're already working. We're already doing all their bidding.
Well, you have to accept the fact that there would be a group of Bond villains, bro. That's what you have to accept. Like, and it's not outside the realm of possibility.
No, not at all.
But I mean, there really would have.
But how would it benefit them?
There would have, yeah. That's
because
what
they're already rich as fuck.
Yeah.
They've already got those kind of people already have ultimate power.
The thing. You see the depopulation thing and everything else, and it's almost like, well, if you kill the consumer, what's the point? If you own all these companies that require consumers to continue to amass fortunes and more power, why would you kill them all?
Fucking sense.
And honestly, you'd want to make more. You want to start coming out in the rural areas and commercializing them. But I don't know, man. It's weird. That one doesn't seem right to me. When I see that, well, it's conspiracy theory, and you know I love a good one, and I'm totally open for them all. I just don't see it, man.
It doesn't make sense. It's just like, why would they do it? What's the point of? Wouldn't it make a lot more sense for everything? Like using it, the analogy from one world nation or whatever, in like a business. Like the happier your customers are, or the happier your employees are, if you own a business, the better your business is going to be. It's proven. You know what I mean? The better your life's going to be. We should, but it's proven. The happier they are, so wouldn't it make sense? The happier, if you were in control of all of Earth, wouldn't it make a little more sense that you kind of want everybody to be happy as much as possible?
You would think
wouldn't
so,
that make more sense? Unless you're just like you said, some sick fuck. Some Charles Manson character ends up taking over or something,
And according to that super positive guy that comes on Rogue, and the one that talks about how there's so much dysfunction, but we're better, like whether we want to accept it or not,
he wrote a book.
We are better. I can't think of what his name is either. It's true. I mean, I think no matter what, we're going to end up progressing in a positive fashion, whether we like it or not. It's going to happen. Either that, or we're going to end up getting so deep that we're going to end up eliminating ourselves, which is possibly what happened before. This shit could have happened already. Could have got to a point like
this. I don't even know if I want to consider that a conspiracy theory or whatever you want to say, but I fully believe that there's been many human civilizations that's risen and fallen on this planet, man. Who knows how far we got? Like I said, maybe the spaceships that what's his face claims that he found, it came on Rogan. I can't think of his fucking name right now. Bob Lazar. The shit he says, that he saw, and he said they claimed that those were dug up in archaeology. Yes, pigs. I can't talk. You know what I'm trying to say, though. Yeah. So they were old. So they're basically saying, dude, these things were old, but they were more advanced than anything we could even fathom. So is that not? That could be proof of aliens, or it could be proof that, dude, we did this before. We've already reached a crazy height, and maybe we're not learning from our fucking mistakes.
Farther than where we're at right now. Like we've already had a technology that's beyond what the fuck we're at right now.
I mean, maybe that's reincarnation. Maybe that's the whole thing, and maybe it happens in our life and in this world. It just dies, comes back, dies.
Maybe it's the time we get it right.
Infinity.
Maybe we push ourselves to a point where, like right now, global warming. People are so funny about it, but again, I will always stand steadfast on. I have no clue. I don't think anybody has a clue per se, because we've never had automobiles and airplanes and all these other things that are in these plants that emit carbon to the amount that it does to compare to. We've never done that. It's never been something that we have any kind of information on, so we don't know. We don't know if it's going to make it get hotter. We don't know if it's going to make it get colder. I've had people use the argument for the 70s or whenever when they said global cooling, and they were, look, it's because we were always just utilizing the information that we have at hand.
People don't understand science changes. They don't even know what they're doing. Like, because it changes, man.
Everything is theory. Science is theory. All of it. Every bit of it is theory. A lot more. Some of it is a little more close to being provable than others, but not all of it's actually.
We don't even understand gravity fully, man. We don't even fully understand gravity. I definitely don't, because I'm dumb. I'm talking about smart people. They do. They can explain it to you, but they don't fully understand it, man. They don't. And they're starting to learn new things about it all the time.
That's important. That's important. I was talking to Michael the other day about that. It was, we look at it and try to utilize it now and act like this is such concrete information. But there's the probability of coming 50 years in the future when looking at 100 years in the past at where science was and what they were thinking and doing, and the rate of technology growing right now, the chances of us getting here in 50 years and saying, wow, Einstein was totally wrong, dude was a dumbass, are kind of high. I feel like, I don't know, I'm an idiot, chances are
he was working with what he had at that time.
But when you look at you look at how shit's changed, there's a decent chance that can happen. It's definitely plausible. So, you never know. It could be, we're dumbasses right now. We don't know shit. We don't know anything. It's getting better. It's getting it easier. AI will probably be the thing to really show us. That'll probably be once we can kind of hone it and be comfortable enough to like let it go and really be able to learn from it. That will be when we finally get to kind of understand the world around us more clearly.
Yeah. That scares me, but it also excites me totally. It's just,
well, would it not?
I kind of think that is the apocalypse in the sense of
right.
that you know, technology might be the downfall of the human race.
Well, it may be the answer to our biggest question. And if it's the answer to our biggest question, what the fuck do we have to question? What do we have to live for if we're not going to continue to seek what's the meaning of life? You know, if a computer program can come in and take all the knowledge of the world so far, all of our history, everything else, and essentially put it together in a way that is logical, at least according to our technology and computers at that time. Fuck, I mean, I feel like I can get a pretty good idea of what it is. But there's no emotion. There's absolutely zero emotion. That's the thing that's what fucks us, is we can't take emotion out of the equation. We have facts now, and we have numbers now, and we have truths now. But all of those facts, truths, and numbers are backed by some form of an emotion, some form of human emotion, and flawed error. That's a huge error when it comes to anything that we talk about. Any statistics, it's always black and white, and it ignores the gray, and that gray is an important part.
Yeah, we were talking about that last night. The whole black and white. That's just everybody's left to right, black or white. There's no. And that's not the way the fucking world works, really, man.
Oh, what a great time to talk about this! I really wanted to do it on the podcast, but since we don't have a lot of shit set up yet, Cobra fucking Kai. What a fucking pivotal, random, fucking brainless entertainment.
Cobra Kai never dies.
To come out and be so fucking deep, man. I want to talk about.
I want people to realize, like, I don't want to sound like. Because the message is pretty obvious, so I don't get that.
Was it the intent to be that deep? Or, I mean, are we just taking it deeper than necessary? Is it cool that it's a side effect that we got so much depth from it? Because that's a deep fucking show.
I think it's, I hope and pray that they're meant for it to be that deep.
Yeah.
Because it is. The fine balance and how it links up, kind of what we're working on and stuff is crazy. I've never needed a more show. It's so dumb for me to say that. It's so, like, embarrassing almost to think how much that show meant for me in the time, like, and I'm so glad I didn't watch it when it was on YouTube. I'm so glad when people back then were telling me, and I was like, bullshit, because I wouldn't have liked it then, bro. I wouldn't have watched it. I'd have been like, oh, this is cheesy. But now it came in my life exactly when I needed it, bro.
Empathy. Like, whether you realize that's what it is or not, you get to look at a different perspective. So Karate Kid was never written to even consider the bully's perspective. Never once was it even thought about to try to put that in. Maybe it was. I shouldn't speak for the guy, but I highly doubt it.
No, I don't think
clearly the way the direction went, it wasn't. But to take that and to use his and all of a sudden build a backstory on what created him as that person.
What made him turn into what he was.
And then his struggle with that throughout the 2 seasons, and finally come to the conclusion of like, man, that was wrong, and I see now why it created this idea and image of me as he's creating these images of people that were innocent kids, that were nice kids. And fuck, man, how fucking deep was that?
It was. And then, you know, Johnny Lawrence kind of becoming, or LaRusso kind of becoming almost not necessarily a bully, but kind of thinking everything he was doing for right, but kind of just being a dick and being petty.
Well, it hit on that hipster bully thing. Like, he became that, like, hipster
powerful
bully.
Money. I got money. Let me show you what I can do.
Do that, like, almost like that intellectual D-bag you'll deal with on Facebook that wants to fucking sit there and overtalk you with big words and bullshit, and kind of like play that peaceful pariah or whatever. That's just kind of like, I'm on a different level. It's like that. It's that same bully arrogance that a bully would have, just in more of a mental attitude kind of thing. And it's
more manipulative or like sneaky.
And it was kind of, and it was strange as he started to realize it when his wife calls him out on it.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh wow, like I am just being the person that I'm fighting. Like I am fighting it with the same attitude as
become everything I've hated, and I think it happens to the best of us, man.
When you can realize it, fuck yeah, dude.
Yeah, that show was the shit, man. It really was. I can't wait for the third season.
If you have not watched Cobra Kai, you should watch it, and watch it with an open mind of what we just talked about. Perspective.
Get over the cheesiness. It's supposed to be cheesy.
It's supposed to be cheesy. But watch it as the characters develop, and as it kind of grows in the different little plot points and different little depth points. Man, it is a deep fucking show. And it really hits on so many, because he still wants that, no, badass it's necessary. Yeah. They're still breaking that toxic masculinity thing and saying, no, there still needs to be that level of masculinity. We're still men, and we still have that animal instinct. Yes, And yeah, how awesome was they just inserted Find Balance a bunch of times.
Yeah.
That was cool as shit. Which just honestly, it's solidified because as I'm watching it and appreciating that perspective and feeling like that's kind of where I'm at and kind of what I'm starting to realize about people and what I would like to see more so, it's like, damn, that Find Balance kept popping up and I'm like, wow, it just kept solidifying, like, yes, that is that path that I got to continue to make. I have to continue to find balance in my life.
Yes. And it's going to be a constant battle of getting there, and then this side goes up and this side teeter-totters, and it's maybe you never get there. But if you keep working on it, eventually those shifts are like, like now it's shifting like this, right?
Yeah.
And eventually maybe those shifts are just almost unnoticeable. Maybe you're never going to be completely balanced. Maybe that's impossible, but just striving to get it.
I feel like it will be, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, that's Taoism and reaching enlightenment. I mean, that's that shit that takes decades of meditating. I can't remember what book it was. It was either in the Christian Martu or whatever you say.
Yeah, however you say that.
Christian Martu or
yeah.
And then or it was the Four Agreements, one of them, where it actually had an example of a master and a student, and the student said, how long will it take for me to reach enlightenment if I meditate every day for 10 years, or every day for 4 hours or 8 hours? He said 10 years. Or no, it was 4 hours, and the master said it would take you 10 years. And then he came back at him and said, okay, what if I doubled it and meditated?
That's definitely
for 8 hours a day. And he said, well, it would take you 20 years. And he's like, hold on, why would it take me 20 years if I did double the time of meditation? He said, because you'd be losing the whole point. You're not living your life and enjoying your life and experiencing it enough to have something to meditate on in the first place. And it's just...
You would just turn into a meditate, yeah.
Like, fuck, man. It goes back to what we were just talking about rush life. We're sitting here rushing and not taking the time to stop and actually
not being in the present, which
meditate
is my
on
worst.
the present.
Dude, that's my number one downfall in my life is not in the past anymore, but it's the future. Everything to do with my anxiety is I can't just enjoy myself ever. Like I can't just. It's so rare for me to actually sit there and take in a moment and actually like take it in and be there. Because normally, once I'm there, my stupid brain is already 6 steps ahead, and it fills me with anxiety because I'm never like sitting in the moment. I'm never actually sitting in the present, which is I feel like that's really the only way you can actually truly be happy. If you're constantly worried about the future, you're not even living your fucking life. And if you're living in the past, whether it's good or bad, whether if you just fantasize all day about your heyday or, when you were a badass football player or whatever, dude, you're wasting your present life right now. And that's my hardest thing. I don't know what I'm going to have to do to be able to get to that point of just enjoying situations. And I mean, like, I got to have a baby. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, just sitting in it, sitting in that moment.
We'll be the example. That's what our company will be that example of, because how much real planning have we done? We've sat down and had some meetings and thought about short-term goals, but like in the end of what we're actually doing, we have no fucking end goal. And a lot of people say it's silly, but it's almost like we're enjoying the in-the-moment process of building this and finding exactly what it is.
We don't know what it's going to be. We don't know yet.
We have an idea of what we want to do and like the ideas of kind of what our overall mentality wants to be about it. And like, we like to impact the world. We like to change some things that we see as societally flawed. We want to be the example of the change we want to see, all that good shit. But how you tangibly do that, I don't know. We're going to fucking find out as we grow and do it, right?
I don't know.
Is that not in the moment?
It is. I guess more in my own brain. But I got to say one thing about Cobra Kai before I forget. I just want to think about, because in my scenario, I started watching it. My wife's sitting beside me, Samantha. She mentioned like through the first couple episodes of her just kind of paying attention about how cheesy it was. But I kept noticing. She was noticing more and watching more and watching more. And then the next day she comes up to me and she's like, bro, I couldn't stop thinking about that show. So I want to know how many times that happened. Any other dudes that are like my age, especially, that grew up with that, started watching that and suckered their wife into it too. Because I guarantee you it was, because it's that good of a show. That's my point, I guess, to that. It's like, my wife wanted to hate it. I promise you, she wanted to make fun of me, dude. She wanted to roast me for watching it. And something about that show, and she wasn't even, she was reading. She was like listening, you know what I mean? She wasn't even really watching it. And it still fucking hooked her, bro. Still got it.
Well, man, especially in the beginning, you had that kind of like heartwarming, like, oh, this guy's teaching like kids how to, take care of their bullies. There was that moment of kind of like, oh, we're going to watch this underdog grow to this alpha, like, handling business, I guess, or whatever you want to call it, not necessarily alpha dog, even though that's what happened. But again, I feel like that's another point that I really hadn't thought of much, was that toxic masculinity talk, where it's kind of like, we need to eliminate this masculinity. It's like, well, maybe we need to kind of incorporate a little more in a certain way, finding that balance of it all, because you took these kids that didn't have any, really, they had no level, and there was even a girl in that class that took that little level of that kind of masculinity and kind of standing up for yourself and handling your shit and making sure that you're gonna, not be pushed around, was beneficial. Yes, this is a TV show, but real life stories where that shit happens and it works out for somebody. Everybody knows. You stand up to your bully and you actually make an impact, usually it stops.
Yeah.
So,
to lead to the fine balance thing too, and this fucking, once I say this will lose fuckers, and especially the homophobic ones. But dude, yin and yang, bro, is the male and the feminine, dude, and to really be like probably a complete person, you're probably supposed to be close to half and half of both feminine quality and male quality. And when you say feminine, people think gay or girly, or no, it's not that. It's the mentality. It's the more women are generally a little more compassionate, more empathetic. That's what I mean by feminine. Not and also that doesn't mean that some women aren't. Not every woman's like that. You can't generalize like that. But still, it's that perfect fucking balance of it, which maybe never happened, but...
And that's kind of the empowerment of women, is taking a little bit of that kind of masculinity, like archetype, into introducing in your life and standing up.
Well, they've been forced to by so many single mothers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like your mom, for a perfect example, by the whole, the killing of fathers in this country.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like the fucking... So women have had to take on that role maybe more than they should have.
Hey, my mom raised me always saying, like, I'm going to make you a good housewife. And obviously you joke about it as a kid. When you get older, you realize, like, man, what a benefit that has been for me in my relationship, especially.
Knowing how to cook, knowing how to clean up,
to handle that stuff and take care of things. And then, obviously I still have to work on empathy and stuff. I didn't have a dad. There was things I didn't learn, and there was a lot of angst and aggression. And I really didn't have a standalone figure to really guide me.
Because your mom was so freaking busy.
Yeah, and mom didn't have the chance for empathy and stuff, because when something happened, she was too busy. She just had to handle it, and she handled it as quickly as possible in whatever means she could. And it made it hard for me. It makes it hard for me now in my relationship to kind of naturally empathize and kind of understand and appreciate that, because I never really saw a solid foundational relationship. So I'm having to build it from scratch and learn what that actually is. And we're doing good. 11 years in, and we work together. We know we never gave up. Anytime we had problems, I always told her from the beginning, dude, anything worth loving at any point in your life is worth fighting for. So
it's gonna be
let's make sure we fight.
Bro. It ain't all tiptoeing through the tulips, brother. It's
not at all.
It's work just like anything.
Well, there's some tiptoeing going on. But it's definitely, it's a rough one, man. And balance between masculinity and femininity, I definitely agree with that, man.
Dude, it's just one of those things. You're trying to say that to some good old boy right now. Well, fucking feminine ain't nothing about me, feminine boy.
In their defense, though, is it not because we're finally at a place in society where that's allowable?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I don't mean allowable,
getting there,
allowable by mentality, but necessarily by lifestyle. Because for a long time, the man had to be this fucking hard ass that would maybe have to kill off a group of marauders. Maybe Indian or whatever.
No time for empathy.
You had to farm your land to provide for your family. The mom was busy taking care of kids, sick children, or whatever it may be, and doing other things. So that type worked, and it had to be. It was necessary. But now we're getting this place where we have too much food and not enough work and not enough responsibility, and we have to rebuild our societal archetype of who we are and how we do it. And that's going to require balance. It's going to require.
Man, it's going to require so much, and I don't know who's going to be the spearhead, the leader, the whatever we need. It's not going to be one person, obviously, to get this doing. I guess it's just going to take kind of more of us. Does that make sense? Not like me and you in the sense like we're doing it, but like more people banding together with these kind of ideas and pushing it and realizing no more. You know what I mean? This system, the whole way it's been set up, the fact that you go to school at 5 and instantly start getting conditioned to fit right in. That's all school is about.
Yeah.
The time frame, everything is about getting you conditioned to go sit at that job and work, be a good little worker bee. As soon as you get out of line in school, you get labeled a back hitter. As soon as you you know, me and you are both terrible about this and started getting a job and starting to see the bullshit of it, right? Like, I can't help it. I'm just starting like, this bullshit. And you get, dude, if you even mention that kind of shit, you're ostracized immediately. It's like, because they don't want you to infect, you're the bad apple. Like at Restaurant Josie's, I got called all the time. I'm the negative fuck, and it's because I was always talking about how much better that place could be, how we were doing things wrong, and how this is bullshit. So I was labeled this negative, horrible person, right? Because I was like, dude, this is wrong. You know what I mean? They don't want that. They just want you to shut the fuck up. Not just that restaurant, but most
just
places.
As a whole. Yeah.
Just shut up and do your job. You know, shut up and do your job. Whether or not you think you're more qualified than your boss, which a lot of times we all are.
Well, I get it from that standard of what today's standard is. You know, you get it because they want that no issue, constant flow, high profit, low waste, you know, machine. And I understand that. The problem is that machine is starting to turn up, and people don't like that. And the younger generations more so the ones, and it's because they've seen the side effects of that. They're seeing, and I feel like I myself have too. I've watched my mom work every fucking day of her entire life to get to a level, and she's just at that level of slight comfortability. It's not really comfortable because it would only take a major injury or something to put her into a point of being stressed again. And she has done everything that people are supposed to do.
Well, she's probably stressed about that. Like, okay, she got to that level, right?
Yeah.
But now there's got to be in her mind thinking, just like you said, what if I get injured? What if I get, this ain't enough? I can't relax now. I can't relax because what if?
Well, she's super resourceful and does that.
Yeah.
She's smart and she knows how to handle. And she's scared. She's scared to go off and open a business, like turn her cleaning business that she's done independently into a business that hires and fires and everything else because there's too many what ifs. There's so many what ifs, and she's so worried that she's so comfortable, and she's finally found that comfortability that it's just way too fucking scary and devastating to even consider those other options that would put her at a higher level. Why not just continue to stay comfortable? And I don't blame her. How can you blame somebody for finally finding that comfortable level? But me, as her son, watching her, it's broke her down. She's starting to get injuries now purely because she's constantly worked so hard. And it's her body breaking down now.
And like you said, the way she does it, everything's extra. You know what I mean? Hanging out of windows.
150%.
Freaking.
She's a fucking superhero.
And she did it, and she did it, and she did it because she knew that's what it was going to fucking take to, like, get the jobs, right? Get those big houses that she
But
does
is that
now.
really, what fulfillment did I get? I never got to see my mom fulfill her dream. I never got to see my mom find her passion. I never got to see my mother who she really is, man. I didn't get to see her, who my mom really, really is inside. You know, I love her and I know her well, and I know a lot about her, you know, habits and what she tends to be and how she tends to be emotional or any of that stuff. But who she would be if she didn't have any shackles. What would my mom do if she had every option in the world? I don't know. I couldn't give you that answer because I don't think she's ever felt that she would ever be comfortable enough to do that. I know she wants to travel and see some stuff, and I hope that one day I will find success to put her into that ability to just say, you know what, you're done working, take the next year, take the next year and just go. See the world, do the things you want to do, and see the things you want to see, and become the person that you are, because I'd love to see that person. And I think that is the problem in society. It's not necessarily that there's a lot it is necessarily. It's a holdback. It's a giant holdback. Money and the love of it is a giant holdback. The reason why profiteering to a massive level, and I have such an issue for it, is because it continues to condition us to think that it's something we should strive for, and that's when you find that level of comfortability that you're finally going to be able to do whatever you want, and I think that sucks. I think we can do better than that. I think we can create a world, we can definitely create a world where that's not necessary. UBI sounds great. Why would I don't understand what people do. And it's always the what ifs. It's the fear of money. It's the fear of all of a sudden you're going to have to pay a ton of taxes, or you're going to have to do all these things, and it's this scary, like,
what if somebody takes advantage of it?
Yes, and what if there's going to be people that take advantage and
They're doing it right now.
Maybe those people would finally have the comfortability to say, I'm going to go be a fucking astronaut.
Yeah.
I'm going to go be a fucking artist. I'm I'm going to go create beautiful landscapes for
stand-up comedy. You know, whatever the case may be.
Something awesome that I feel like is what I'm here to do. And not have to indenture yourself thousands and hundreds of thousands of dollars to get some fucking piece of paper that says you have certification to do that in the real world, and then turns out you end up with so much debt that you can't, even if you don't like that, you have to continue doing it just to pay off your student loans. When it turns out, when you stop and look back at it now and the way society is, it's showing itself more and more that our educational system and the way we do it is not going to work. It's not going to continue to work for us. The way the world's changing, the way the world's happening, this idea of indebtment and striving for this Ivy League and this other thing, it's nonsense. It's going away.
More and more and more, I feel like. It's like, I don't know. People are, you know, just like you said, we have all the information ever on our phones. You can get anything. You can take classes from MIT on your phone for free. You can take, you know, Stanford anywhere. But that won't matter. Like, you could go right now and be like, well, where's your degree, Mr. Brackley? Like, oh, dude, look at all these good grades I made. And let me tell you all this knowledge I have, but you don't have that stupid fucking piece of paper. It's almost like you didn't pay your penance, boy, to get this job, you know? I
have almost gone to school or worked in my life as long as I've gone to school. So, you know, 13 years to go to school, kindergarten through 12th grade. And then, let's see, so I got out at 18. So by the time I'm 32, no, I'm sorry, I have. So I have been going as long as I have it. I have taken more from the experience in my life and working and learning different trades, learning different crafts, working in random dead-end jobs, learning things about manufacturing, learning things about restaurants and retail, learning things about. I have held on to and maintained more knowledge from any of that than I have from any of the 12 years of school I've taken.
Oh man,
that I went in and out daily for my life every single day for the same amount of time that I did most of my jobs, and yet I didn't retain it nearly as much as what I've retained hands-on. And now look, I mean, now I've been able to take that knowledge and information and be able to get us jobs to where we can go do odd jobs and work, and we can create this, and, you know, get prep meals and sell people meals, even though not necessarily 100%.
You know,
not that I did that or anything, but
no, you've never done that.
If I were and was to have done it,
or if we were smart enough to start a delivery company in Benson.
Oh, I'm so glad, dude. When I was pushing that, think about that. I was pushing that at that time. If that had gone through at the time that I wanted it to, I would literally be opening up my prep food business right when the fucking pandemic
hit. God.
Which maybe would have been good. It actually could have been really good.
Well, especially, considering we would have been in a good spot. Like, you would have been in a good spot here because the regulations weren't near
because everybody's delivering food and picking up food real quick, so it probably would have done all right. But it might not have. May still be a really good idea, by the way. We gotta talk about that, because I thought about that the other day. The way the food's going and the way they're kind of like shutting down. It's
almost like they want you to go.
Well, shutting down the insides of restaurants and stuff. I'm not so sure that that's not going to become more of a kind of regular thing for like fast food and stuff, where you'll see more of just that drive-through mentality.
Well, think about how they're like fucking their overhead would shoot down big time if you're just like
that's another thing I said.
It's just just drive-through now.
Once they realize how much, because they shut down. It's like, God, we don't have to pay near as many people. We're still cranking out mad product. Like, holy shit, we should have been doing this a long time ago.
Now, imagine if they would take all that and save money and then actually do some good with it.
Right. Well, hey, McDonald's.
They will.
McDonald's bought the billboards in Harrison that said diversity. White.
They did?
Yeah, code word for white genocide. They bought that one and the White Pride Radio one to put up McDonald's ads instead.
Now, is that just the Harrison McDonald's? Whoever owns that Harrison McDonald's?
I'm not sure. Probably. Yeah. I'm assuming. Yeah.
That's gangster.
Fucking cool, right? Cool. It's funny because people talk about those corporations as a whole. Really, you have to look at like the corporation and kind of their ideology, and then understand that
how much
a lot
money
of the
is McDonald's pay for people?
franchises.
Okay, they don't pay a lot, but just think about that. For instance, we do hate on it, we talk shit, but goddamn, how many people in this country right now is McDonald's employing?
Yeah, for sure.
And maybe it ain't great money,
that's the
but
argument.
Shit.
That's the argument.
It's a fucking job.
That's why people, when they question the process and how like they make billions and billions of dollars, we give people millions and millions of jobs, and it's like closed case after that, and nobody wants to investigate further and say, okay, that's awesome and that's great. I mean, I feel like just as the fact that you're like literally one of the corporate like almost monopolies on fucking burgers in the country, like I feel like that's kind of a responsibility of yours.
Especially when I was a kid, bro. It was like McDonald's and fucking barely. That was it. When you were a kid, that was the restaurant. That was like my mecca of a restaurant.
It's funny to watch the founder.
I need to watch that.
You haven't watched
What's his face?
Yeah, to watch the founder and to see kind of how that capitalism and like money, the search for money, kind of manipulated McDonald's from what they wanted it to be into what it became, because it created drive-through. Like,
I wonder how fire the first McDonald's was. I mean, it was fucking delicious. You ever think about doing shit like that? Like the first Taco Bell, how good it was.
Bro, they didn't just create, it wasn't the burger, it was the fucking line.
Yeah.
They created the line. They created the fucking fast food
the way they cook it, the way they prepare it, everything.
Yes, they created like the stations.
Genius.
Like, here's the grill station, here's the fry station, here's the this station. And they actually orchestrated like a dance where people would move in a certain fashion, like a fucking assembly line. They created that. That was McDonald's big gift to the world, was that they created that. Nobody was running necessarily like that on a large scale. So it was fucking boom. You could get a burger in 45 seconds, dude. Boom.
For a low, too.
Yeah, 15 cents, I think, or 5 cents or something like that. It was a nickel. Burgers were a nickel, I think. I'm pretty sure. And it's like, dude, that was crazy. The Founder. If you haven't watched The Founder, you should watch The Founder. It's really cool. It's not a documentary. It's like a reimagining.
Not Michael Douglas.
It's a reenactment of it.
Batman.
Michael Keaton.
Michael Keaton. There you go.
He's a scumbag, but it's awesome. It's a great movie.
What's his name? Ray Brock? No, what's his name? Something. Yeah, Rock.
It's the guy that he initially hijacked McDonald's, and then because he saw the potential, he saw that it was going to become
this is the shit.
National brand on a huge scale. But,
so was that the first manufactured fast food restaurant, as far as like more than one? Was that the first?
I don't know on that scale.
Or not more than one. That would make sense. But like
that was
nationwide.
That was this like once that's what that guy saw when he came to McDonald's and saw that, and this is what he kind of did, was go around and kind of help retail restaurants and stuff, kind of like consulting. Once he saw the assembly line, that's what made him go, holy shit, what is this? Like, this is the mind-blowing, like, crazy change. Like, it was awesome. Really cool, dude.
Be like the first person that heard Led Zeppelin play or something. You know what I mean? They're like, oh, shit.
Yo, you guys need to record that.
You got it.
Man, that was a good one, dude.
It was.
That was a good one. If you listened all the way through, thank you. If you got anything to say about anything we say, please, man, throw it in the comments, because we like to continue this. And if you find flaws, we're not dicks. We don't like to hold our opinion to a higher standard, dude. We are wide open, and we love to conversate a little more and really break into more conversations. So please,
and like and subscribe. Yeah. I have to be like a real YouTube guy.
I guess subscribe, because we're going to continue doing this, because we make field trips, it looks like. So much love, everybody.
I was like, who this motherfucker at your motherfucking house, cuz?
Peace. Oh, David's getting
some ass cheating on you, bro. Get it. No. See, I was like seeing a dude. I was like, hey, motherfucker. This ain't your house, cuz. Where am I grabbing?
Well, after that, outbreak. Much love, everybody. Peace.
Oh, we're still recording.
Yeah. Ignore the outbreak.
Edit that out. Jim hit his